How's it going, everybody? My name is Warner Fields with Fields of Profit. I'm a six-figure Amazon seller and full-time student, and in today's video I'm going to be answering a pretty common question I get, which is how should I start selling on Amazon? It can seem a little daunting at first if you don't really know where to start. There's a whole lot of different approaches you could take, whether that's books or online retail arbitrage, a wholesale approach. So there's a lot of ways that you can do, and it's largely going to depend on your situation, and I'll kind of address some things later on the video on that. For this, I'm just going to dive into how I personally got started and how I personally recommend that you could learn the ropes and evolve into your own type of business. So I'm going to dive into the numbers from when I just first started, and then the category breakdowns for what I'm doing right now, as to hopefully get you an idea of what you should be looking for within scaling your business. Before I get started with this video, I just want to say only about 25% of the people watching videos are actually subscribed. So if you're not subscribed, just click the button down below. It helps me out a ton and it's free. Thanks, guys. This is my inventory lab breakdown for the first 2.5 months that I was selling on Amazon. This was late 2018. I was just going out to thrift stores. I was selling books. I was selling VCR players. I can show you a couple examples of that in just a second. For about a year, all I did was go to thrift stores, go to estate sales and that kind of stuff, and scan using Scout IQ, and I would scan the books, and I would also look up VCR players and CD players, especially Sony things like that. I would look those up and on Amazon Seller and sell them through FBA. This was all FBA at the time, with maybe a little bit of merchant fulfilling. If you're not familiar with the Books business model, there'll be a link up above that's going to show you my tutorial on how to do the Books business model. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the example products that I sold within these first 2.5 months. So in 2018, this was the most valuable thing that I sold. I made $70 on this. In 2018, I was still super part-time. I was just kind of figuring out the ropes, really hitting the thrift stores maybe once a week, if that. So I was looking for books with Scout IQ, and then I was also looking for things like this, these CD players, VCR players, that kind of stuff. These are just a couple examples. I think I've sold this one in the past. I've sold plenty of these right here. These all sell pretty quickly. And if you're able to pick them up for $10, $15 a pop, then they usually, and you want to look in the range of at least $60 because they're pretty bulky, heavy to ship. You're going to have to spend some time making sure you package them up really securely, so that they don't get damaged in transit. So you're going to want to make sure that you have a pretty good amount of profit on these, but these are a really good thing to look out for when you're first thrifting. So from October 15th to December 31st of 2018, books made up about 62% of my revenue, and then the rest looks like it was mostly speakers, home theater. These are all those things that I just showed you. And then toy, there was some kind of Black Friday bolo that I remember buying. It was like a golden surprise egg for Ryan's Toys World or something like that. But yeah, so let's go ahead and I'm going to go forward a year and see what the category breakdowns looked like from this time period in 2019. So during the same period in 2019, here's what the breakdown looked like. The profit is a little low here. So maybe it's not the greatest example, but I was out of the country for this entire time. I was in Hong Kong. So that can just kind of show you the power of having that snowball that you're feeding into Amazon. So I was in Hong Kong from early August to late December. And during that whole time, I was able to just sell things without working. So during this time period, that same time period from 2018, I made more than I did in 2018 because of that snowball that I had built up. So I'd made $2,600 while I was across the ocean. I was able to spend that on rent and meals and all kinds of stuff. But yeah, so looking at the breakdown here, it looks like we're still about 65% books. Video games are also really good if you're going to be able to get those from thrift stores. Those are the same thing. You can use Scout IQ to get those as well. And then home theater and a bunch of miscellaneous things. I started experimenting with RA and OA here. So we're going to see that in this next breakdown here. But yeah, so still starting with books, video games, it's a really good way to learn how to sell on Amazon because it's a lot cheaper to make those $1, $2 mistakes with things from the thrift store than if you jump right into wholesale, let's say, and you place a $3,000 PO, you don't know how to read the Keepa charts, and then you're just stuck with it. So in my opinion, I always recommend people start with books, video games, used electronics. Those are going to help you learn the ropes, and they're a lot cheaper mistakes, so that you can make more expensive plays once you really learn. So this is the breakdown for about the last 2.5 months of sales to date. So right down here, you can see I've done about 60,000 on the last 2.5 months. the biggest category for me now is health and beauty. This is a lot of those OA bundles with making 2-packs or finding clearance deals from Ulta, stacking coupons on coupons to go flip on Amazon on listings where the price is a little higher than it maybe should be, but the customers are paying it. You'll learn to read Keepa, and if Keepa validates your purchases, then just make it. Don't question it, because sometimes the things that you're buying seem ridiculous. But if Keepa says that it's profitable, just trust Keepa. So right now, the second most profitable by revenue is books. And then we've got home improvement, beauty, kitchen. So just a whole miscellaneous categories of OA and RA here, and then just some pretty minor categories down here. But you can see the reason I still do books is because of this the ROI column over here. So the ROI on books is 130% for me, whereas beauty is 43, home improvement is 30, the beauty here is 33. That's health and beauty up here for 43. So the profit isn't entirely too different based on this revenue. Obviously, books are a lot more profitable, but the main thing is that these books require very little capital investment. So if you're able to build systems, like I have a local brand that buys books from closeout deals and estate salesmen, college students, those are going to be really good opportunities for you to get those low cost buys that are going to flip for massive profits, but those are a little more time intensive. So once you run out of time and have a lot of money, you're going to want to be able to spend more money on these categories that give you guaranteed ROIs like this, but they're a little lower. So honestly, the main takeaway here should be that you should be using your capital however it makes sense for you. You should focus on books if you have avenues to get books with low time investment. A lot of times books take a lot of time investment, which is why it's probably the best way to start, because when you're starting, you have plenty of time and maybe not so much money to start out with. So then you're going to be willing to go out to those thrift stores and find those long work hours to get those good flips for high ROI, and that's going to be able to build up your capital very quickly. But once you run out of time, you're just going to have to be able to spend money on these more guaranteed returns. So the correct answer for what category should I sell in is whatever is best for you, whatever you find products in that make sense. For me, I found a lot of health and beauty products that have consistent sales and they hold the price where they should be. So I've been doing a lot of health and beauty OA and just kitchen, that kind of stuff. Those products that people have to buy over and over again, those consistent products. And then I've also used that brand that I was talking about to get those books with low time investment. And I also have my sister does a lot of labeling and stuff for me. If you've got helpers around the house, pay them some extra money, get the menial work, because you need to be focusing on the tasks that take higher brain power. That's also how you're going to learn to grow your business in the long run, because you're really not going to learn how to grow your business if you're still stickering all your products once you're at a certain scale. So for sticking around to the end of the video, I also want to show you a product that I used to use and is still a little bit profitable. If you wanted to go into this product, I'll show it to you right now. So when I used to sell it, it was back here. And this is an example of one of those health and beauty products with the Keepa chart shows that it'll just consistently sell. These are the types of products you want to be on. So right back here, the price was always steady high up here. So when I bought it, it looked like this, and I was able to sell a bunch of them for $19 a unit. Now the price has gone down a little bit, but so has the sales velocity. The sales velocity has picked up. So you'd move it faster for lower profit, which, that's a pretty common trade-off. So right now it's selling for $16.50, and I was buying this from Ulta. Right now they also have this 20% coupon. So that brings your cost down to $8, plus you could stack some cash back and stuff to usually kind of offset the sales tax. So let's say that we are paying $8 on this. Back in the day, it was a $5 profit, but right now if it's at $16.50, that's going to be a $2.70 profit. So this is an okay product at this point. If you wanted to go ahead and give it a shot, you're more than welcome to. But this is just a pretty short little example of those products that you should just kind of be category agnostic. You should be more focused on the profit and the guaranteed results shown in a Keepa chart. Make sure you know how to properly package products like this. Like anything that's a liquid, typically you'll have to polybag. So just make sure you're prepared for that. Maybe add a little extra buffer into that profit margin to compensate for your time or your workers' time to polybag things. But those are really some pretty solid products. Those things that you have to do a little bit of prep work on, maybe make a 2-pack, because it's just that little bit of barrier to entry so that those lazier sellers or maybe some scanners don't pick that up. So I hope you found this guide useful. At the end of the day, there's not really any magic formula what to the proper category you should sell in. It largely just depends on the time and capital that you have available to yourself. So you should go for those things that are cheaper if you are low on capital and high on time, and then vice versa. It's just kind of common sense there. But yeah, so if you want to like, comment, subscribe, all that stuff, that helps me out with the algorithm. That's going to do it for this one. Thanks, guys.